Hello and welcome to BI Publisher Basics and Beyond. In this chapter, we would look at how to build template checks. So we are going to familiarize ourselves with creating a check template. This is going to be a long chapter, so please bear with me. So as a prerequisite, make sure you have BI Publisher add-in installed. As always, I've created a backup at every stage, and the files are available for download as a zip file. Feel free to download and try it out. So this is so our goal is to create a check. So checks can be checks are usually pre-formatted. They are printed in pre-formatted sheets. The main challenge with any checks is to align the check with the the right place. Takes normally takes for hours, but this exercise is a good way to get started. You may not be able to use it directly, but you would know the process by which the checks are created, and you can continue from there. So let's start. Let's start with let's start with saving a file as chapter 301. So before we continue, let's look at the file that we're going to use for creating. So if you look here, it has a root element. Oops, sorry. It has a root element called list gchecks, and there are elements under, other root elements under it called gchecks. So if you notice that there is a for each check there are multiple invoices, multiple invoices, and there is the check. Under the check you have the check amount, under the invoices you have invoice details, and finally you get the formatted data in the in the XML itself. I would recommend print as much details in the XML rather than building the formatting inside the Word template. So let's start it. Let's get started. So we will the first thing we will do is we're going to create, we're going to create this for each section for G checks. What it does is for each G checks, it's going to create a new page basically. So let's start with this step. So before we start, this is how our end result is going to look like. So um, it's going to have a check at the bottom, and you have the invoices on the top. What are you paying for? What other invoices are you paying for? And you got the the second in the invoices overflow to the next sheet, but in the second check it's a void statement. So that's our end result's going to be. I know with the video it's a little bit smaller, so I'll keep a sample in the zip file so you would know what we are looking for. So we have saved the we have the first step now. So we would go to BI Publisher, sample XML, make sure you upload your file. Then let's start with the G checks. I'm going to say table wizard. Let's go and select the G checks because we want to group by each check. So let's go click. Let's for now just get one check number, click finish. So let's go ahead and extract these out, put it out the top, and let's delete this one. Let's insert a table. I'm going to do a 3 table. We'll change it later. Let's do two rows. Let's rename this to G. Let's add a G under G sections at sections. Let's go back to the template. So let's do for each at section. So we will split it at the. Let's go to field browser for each at section. Quick update. Let's go ahead and rename this for to list G checks. Instead of 4, let's call it list G checks. So let's go ahead and rename the bottom piece. Let's go ahead and look at our code one more time, field browser. So you can see we have a G checks for each at section G checks, and there's an end each for it. Let's look at the sample one more time, and we can. So in the top portion, we have a logo, um, we have a company name, the check details. Let's go. Let's go ahead and add the top part. So let's go ahead and add these contents into the table. Let's go ahead and copy a logo from somewhere. Let's add check date, check number, the company name, the telephone number, the site number, supplier number, and the site number. Let's go ahead and add the fields. So I may not be able to show you all the fields, but can just go through one by one. So our first thing is the customer, the check date. Let's go ahead and find the check number. You can see that I'm going to pull it there. The next one is check date. So let's go ahead and find the check date. It should be here somewhere. Let's go ahead and minimize these. So we have the company name header, so we can put it here. It's company address. Let's put this one here. Let's put this one here. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's bring in all the other fields or supply number. And before we do anything, let's change the sizes to like a smaller size. So because the company names we have to get from the parent, just go ahead and do this. Make sure you do the same thing with the other company address. Let's go ahead and do all the fields. So at this point, I've aligned the formatting. I changed the formatting to Arial 9, and I have applied all the fields here. Let's go ahead and test this out. Go preview PDF. So far we get the first part. There are some we have to tweak a little bit, but let's go ahead and continue with the development. So in the step 2, we have added the details on the header, and now let's go ahead and do this step where we are going to add we're gonna add this table right below this top portion, where we are going to enter the invoice date, invoice number, net amount, all those stuff. So let's go ahead and process this. So I'm going to insert 2 rows. Then I have to split this into 2, actually split cells into 2. I'm going to split this into 2, and I'm going to split this into 2, since we need 6 more columns. So let's go ahead and delete these 2, and we could add again. Okay, let's go ahead and add one more. Let's go ahead and add the header details. So make sure your phone is up to date. So I finished up the header, the invoice headers. Let's continue with the where we are. So let's go ahead and add the invoices. So we go to for each invoices, we're going to add the invoice number and all those stuff. Let's go ahead and try this out. Let's add invoices. So I'm going to go to Table Wizard. So this is the easy way. So what I did was I've added a couple of lines, a couple of spaces here. Then I go to Table Wizard, Table. Let's select invoices. Click Next. Just select the invoice number. We'll pick the other fields later. Click Finish. Maybe let's get invoice date also. Let's get Finish. So this would build the table for you. Let's go ahead and copy this over. And let's copy there. Let's rename the invoice number. Let's go ahead and pick properties. Let's go. We don't have much space there, so INV number. Okay, let's do the same thing. INV date. Rename properties. Rename INV date. Click OK. Let's go ahead and copy the end from here and here. Let's go ahead and let's rename these ones. Let's go for each invoice. Let's split the properties. FINV for INV. So that way we would be clear. Let's go ahead and copy this over. We did that. Let's go ahead and copy this invoice date. And let's go ahead and bring in the other field. So we could do is PO number, which would be, let's go ahead and go to field. Let's go to invoices. So PO number would be PO number. So let's go ahead and add it here. So I'll just bring it here. Let's go ahead and rename them. So properties. So just say PO number. Let's go ahead and copy this over. So let's make sure these are the fonts. Home. Make sure the font is Arial 8 for everything. Let's go ahead and do that. Arial 8. So let's complete this one and delete these spaces. So at this point, we have completed the invoice session. Let's go ahead and look at this part. So let's go ahead and view, check editor. So let's say for each invoice, we can add the sorting here. I haven't added that yet. Let's go ahead and preview the data. It's a good idea to preview at each step, but so you can see, we have invoices and all this. There are some bugs here and there, but we're getting along at this point. Let's go ahead and do the next step. So our next step is what we want is we want to limit right at this point. If you look at the output, you can see all the results in one page. So for our example, we want to split it into 5, so each check will have 5 invoices. So we do that by using a couple of variables. So what we are going to do here is we are going to create 2 variables called lines per page and position. And so we'll start from there. Let's go ahead and create these 2 variables. This template is going to be it's getting complicated. So first thing we want to do is we want to find out how many invoices are there. So we are going to create a new variable called ln. So what you have to do is just copy this over, copy and paste this over, just rename it to properties, just rename it to ln, and let's go ahead and edit it. And let's go to advanced, just remove this one. And let's go ahead and add the code that's required for it. So I'm just going to go. What we are going to do is we are going to create a variable called ln, and we are going to count how many invoices are there. So that's what we are going to do. So this is the so we are saying that we are going to copy all the lns into this g invoices. Basically, we are copying all the data from g invoices to ln for a purpose. So let's go ahead and create 2 new variables. One is called the lines per page. The other one is called position. So let's go ahead and create these 2 variables. So we just copy, for simplicity, I'm just going to copy this because we had copied it before. So let's go ahead and copy this. Hold on one second. There's some trouble, so I gotta do this. Okay. I don't want this to be in front, so just go ahead. Let me do this. We could do that. Then let's paste this and paste this. Let's go ahead and copy this lines per page, lines per variable. It's going to create a lines per page, so let's rename this. And let's go ahead and add that condition. I think it has to be this. Let's continue with the next one. So at this point, I have created the lines per page and the position. And we also have created a variable called ln that holds the invoices. So we are going to hold the invoices array in ln. The reason we have that is, it's like a temporary array where you can store the ln and we can leverage it later on. So this ln would be refreshed for each g checks. So for the first check, every time the g checks is processed, this ln would be replaced. So let's go ahead and continue the next. This I know this template is getting complicated, so we would stop at 20 minutes, then I'll record another video, so you don't have to, we don't cram everything in one video. So at this point, what we have done is we have created 2 variables and the ln. So let's go ahead and replace the invoice to use the ln instead of the for each. And the reason why we want to use this because we are As I told you, it's like a memory. We are going to copy. Basically, what we are doing is we're copying the invoices, the G invoices section into a memory. That way, when we process the checks, or when we continue with the checks, the loops, the pointers don't get lost or anything. So what we are going to do is we're going to loop through the ln array instead of the regular checks. Let's go ahead and try it out. So at this point, we still have for each invoices. If you look at this, it's still going through for each invoices. We want to replace this with ln. Let's go ahead and try that. So I'm going to basically double click. I'm going to advance. Instead of for each, I'm going to say $ln. As I said, it's case sensitive. Make sure the case, and make sure I'm going to replace this with loop ln. And I'm going to change the color as I did before. So let's go ahead and change the color to some other different color, so we would know better. So in this, I replaced the color for ln2. So at this point, we can just review quickly. So we have this the new variable called ln, which is a lowercase ln, and it stores all the G invoices for that check. So, and I changed the loop to point to the ln instead of the regular checks. And let's go ahead and look at the end loop. So let's go ahead and test it out. Let's see how it comes out. So far so good. So the check is now coming out. There's nothing, no major impact so far. Let's go ahead and try out the next step. Okay, the next step is where we're going to split the records. We are going to split it so that every 5 records would come into every 5 records will have a separate page. So we're going to have a start variable, and we're going to print it for the start for the fun. Then we would see how to use that programmatically. So we have created a variable. So at this point, we have created a new variable called start, which is basically getting the position. So what happens with this? Remember this every time. So basically, the start would the initial value would be 0. Then let's go ahead and create this variable. Let's go ahead. So we're going to do a weird test here. So what we are going to do is we are going to do this if condition. So if position, so I'm going to add this code inside this for loop ln. So what this code does is if position indicates the current position of the invoice. So the first position is 1. If 1 is greater than or equal to start, which is from here, which is going to be 1. Actually, it's going to be 1. And position is less than start plus lines per page. So position is 1, less than start is 1 plus lines per page. So we'll do some samples, and we'll explain it a little bit better. Let's go ahead and add it and see how the results appear in the ln. And I also have printed the start variable here. Let's go ahead and test it out. So if you notice that the position is 1 and the start value is 1, the position is changing, but the start values are the same, and you can see the start value is the same. Let's go ahead and try to look at that formula that we have. So our formula says if position is greater than start, so position is 1 is greater than start, 1 is greater than 1, that's true, and position is less than start plus line LLP, then do these. So position is 1, start is 1, lines per page is 1. These are constant. So start plus line per page is 6. So do the same. Let's go ahead to line 6. So 6 is less than it is false. So if you notice the output, you can see only the first 5 rows. So let's continue with so we'll add, how do we print the remaining? So we'll try the next slide. So let's go ahead and look at the next slide to see how to split the pages now. So in order for us to reset the start variable, we would have to basically it should execute this this loop loop ln variable, or which is start variable. Actually, start variable. Every time when it comes through this, we have to execute. We have to break it. So what we are going to do is we are going to do a page break, which is basically an XXL attribute. We're going to do a page break here, and we will split the page. So so when the page is split, we are forcing the page to split. So at this point, we are going to it's going to go back to the it's going to go back and reset the numbering. So in order for us to split, first we need to we need to know at what position the you know the last where did it stop before. So we have to capture in the loop. We are going to capture it as a remember we set up a variable called POS in the beginning, POSX position. So we're going to store the position, current position in the POX. So we're going to add another loop here that the loop would say we're going to loop through the ln at the big, and if the position is greater than the position that we stored. So the way in which would happen is, let's go ahead and add the end loop. So the way in which would happen is it will come to g checks, then it's going to check if the then it's going to loop through the ln. Then basically then it comes to this loop. It executes 5 times because we said 5 times. Then it's going to hit the page break. Then it's going to come back to this loop ln, where we are going to check if at what position did we stop last. So we stopped at position 6, so we'll continue with the position 6. Actually, we stopped at 5 here. We'll continue with position 6, then basically loop through this whole process. I know it's complicated, but it's a good idea to try. So so you can definitely try it out and see how it works. So with this, I'm going to end this video. I'm going to start another video to continue the remaining. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing the next video.